All right, it shows that we're live. Let me just go ahead and refresh the page here. Yep, we're live. Perfect. All right, good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great night. Welcome to Chit Chat and Geek Out. Today on the episode, we have Sean Clark from Horror's Hallowed Ground with us today, joining the show. And he also is one of the owners of the biggest con agencies for booking guests, which is Convention All Stars. And yeah, how are you today, Sean? Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing fine.
So for any of the guests that may not know you, Sean, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh boy. Well, I'm just a horror nerd who I do this show called Horror's Hallowed Grounds, which has appeared on a lot of the Scream Factory Blu-rays as a bonus feature. It's where I go back to famous filming locations and sometimes take cast and crew with me and talk about what it was like to shoot there like 30 years ago or whatever. It's like a retrospective piece, which is also a written article in Horror Hound magazine, which lately Robert Patterson has been writing the bulk of those articles for the past, maybe a year or two now, at least close to 2 years. If you haven't, I don't know, really losing track of time. But he's a good friend of mine. He's also a big location enthusiast. And I produce a lot of bonus features for Blu-ray. I have a production company called Well Films, and we do a lot of the bonus features, for horror films and stuff for Scream Factory mostly. We do work with other people, but mostly Scream Factory. And then in addition to that, I've done other things like wrote and produced the film. The Convention All Stars business is kind of my full-time gig, representing celebrities for conventions and whatnot.
And how did that all come about? How did you get involved? Because you're the owner, right, of Convention All Stars?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, the real story is it started by accident. I was just a fan going to conventions. I've been going to conventions since like 1989, and mainly horror conventions. And I became a journalist and was doing that. And through the journalism thing, was being sent to a lot of horror conventions to review them for websites and stuff. So through doing that, I got to be really friendly with a lot of the promoters and a lot of the actors. And kind of, like I said, by accident, a celebrity, hit me up about trying to help them get into a convention because he knew I knew them and that kind of thing. And I did, and they asked me to do it again. And then I started kind of thinking about it like, these guys need somebody to do this for them. Because, I mean, there are celebrities that book themselves into conventions, but for the most part, they want someone that's doing it full time. Like they have people booking their movies and TV and all that stuff. So I just kind of created it, and started doing it as a hobby, mainly to get into conventions for free. I was just like, I can go to conventions for free, and then I just, over a period of time, it started to make a little money, and then it just kind of blew up. And I just got really lucky with some of the people I was working with, becoming big stars and stuff like that, and it kind of elevated me to another level. And I never thought in a million years I would quit my full-time job to be doing this. I haven't had a regular 9-to-5 job since 2006. This has been my full-time gig since. So
I think you probably have, as like a horror nerd myself, I think you probably have the most amazing job ever.
Well, it is fun. I mean, I enjoy the convention work. I enjoy working with the celebrities. I enjoy the location stuff because that was a hobby. The horizontal grounds thing was just a hobby. I like to visit filming locations of my favorite films, and I realized people also enjoyed that and started doing that, and to my surprise, it caught on and people dig it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I've really just gotten stupid lucky that I was able to turn a hobby into a business. And it's been an awesome experience, very humbling, and very fortunate that I can do what I do, and people seem to appreciate it because it seems like everything I do is for the fans. I mean, the bonus feature stuff, it's for the fans. They
Of
want to
course.
see that stuff. They want to see those interviews. The
Mm-hmm.
location stuff, it's for the fans. They want to know that stuff. Getting the celebrities to the conventions, it's for the fans. It's been really I don't know, just I'm very fortunate. It's cool.
Oh, for sure. And you had to be honest, when I discovered you was through YouTube, and after seeing these videos, because I've always been like fascinated about like filming locations, all that stuff. After watching your videos and what you've done on Horse Hallowed Grounds, I was like, I want to do that. Like that's so awesome. And it is a fun thing to do. I have visited a few locations already. I went to the Pasadena. I went to see Halloween filming locations. And in the Mouth of Madness, that movie was only filmed like 20 minutes away from me, the church. So, because I'm local, I'm near Toronto. So, I mean,
Okay, yeah, I was just at that church like a year ago. I guess it was when we shot that episode.
mm-hmm. Oh, it looks great still. It looks the same as it did in the movie. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was a really cool location to see.
For
One of my
sure.
favorites.
For sure. It was really nice. Also, I'm just reading the chat, guys. I see some of your questions. Yeah, if anyone has any questions in the chat, let me know. Let's get to some fan questions right now. Um, uh, was it Ashton? He asked, Sean, what horror location around the world would you love to film for a show if money was no expense?
Um, the episode that I want to do probably more than any of them, and mind you, I've been to these locations already, but I'd like to do it as an episode, would be Clockwork Orange, because
Nice.
it's my all-time favorite film.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already been to all those locations. I was even lucky enough to get in the house where they, beat up the writer and raped
Wow.
his wife. I actually got in the house. The person who owned it let me come in and take pictures. It was surreal.
Wow.
But that's one I'd love to do. Another one I've always wanted to do was an episode on The Shining, and have
Mm-hmm.
it encompass the book, the film, and the miniseries, because all three are connected through their locations.
Mm-hmm.
Because the book was written at the Stanley Hotel. That was where King wrote the book and what inspired it. They also shot the miniseries, the McGarrett miniseries, at that hotel, the Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
They modeled. I mean, all the hotel was sets, Elstree Studios in London. None of it was real, but they modeled the interior of the hotel after the Anawani, which has recently changed names. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was called the Anawani in oh God, where's the it's the forest here in California, and my mind is blanking for a moment. But anyway, Anawani, they based all the interiors on, and then the exterior was based on the Timberline Lodge in Mount Hood, Oregon. And there is one shot of the actual Timberline hotel with that aerial shot when they're first getting to the hotel, that's the real hotel. But if you look at that aerial shot and you look over to the right, you'll notice there's no hedge maze because it wasn't there, it wasn't real. And they replicated a section of the timberline where they built the hedge maze for when they have they're doing the tour and walking outside. So that was all fake. It was all a facade. So anyway, I would love to go through all of those things in an episode and kind of point out, because there's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people really think that hotel exists, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one I'd really love to do.
That would be a really cool location to visit. And I actually did not know that, what you're saying about the hotel. It's very interesting. Let's see here. John asked this question. He says, "What's one piece of memorabilia would you like to own?" I think you already own one of the most amazing ones. What's one of your favorite pieces?
Like a piece of memorabilia, or
I think that's what he's saying. He says, "What's one piece of memorable?" I think he meant memorabilia. Would you like to own?
I'm assuming he means probably like including props. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows I'm a big prop collector. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, God, there's so many. I mean, that's an endless question. But I would love to have Alex's cane from Clockwork Orange with the knife. That has the knife. I mean, that would be. Who knows who has it, if it even still exists? But that would be a pretty awesome piece to own. That
would be amazing. That'd be really cool. And you own one of the most iconic props from like any horror movie. Because I watched one of your interviews recently, and you own the clown from Poltergeist. That's amazing. Yeah. That amazes me.
Like, I'm assuming you're talking about that episode of Collection Complete.
Yes, that was it.
I shot, or they shot 11 episodes with me. So there's going to be 10 more coming out.
Really?
The next one is supposed to come. What's that?
I was saying, really? I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think the next episode might be coming out in about a week. And each episode, they focus on a particular prop.
Wow.
Or a particular thing in a person's collection.
Wow.
And the first episode was a little longer than normal because they kind of did background on who I was. Like this is who he is, what he does. And then they went to the clown.
Yeah.
The next episode is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is going to be the next episode. So
wow, that's interesting. Cool. That's very cool. I'm actually going to go ahead and leave the link right now to that. I just looked it up. I'm going to leave the link to the show so that everyone can tune into the next episode with Sean Clark and his interview. You said you did 10 different ones of like just showing off different props that you own from different movies.
What's that?
You said you have 10 different parts of that show that you're doing. That's going to be coming out soon.
There's 10 more episodes. So,
wow.
Not that I owned just 11 items, but they, they just focused on, I guess a couple other people they did episodes with, they only did like 6 episodes with, but they came over and saw all the stuff I had. They're like, wow, we got to, how are we going to do all these? And I said, hey, I'll do as many as you want. Let's just do it. So,
yeah.
We did 11 of them.
Very cool.
They're pretty fun. I had a good time doing it. And Sean Decker, who produced that was producing that show, Collection Complete. He's a good friend and really cool guy. Used to write for Fangoria and I think Dread Central, and now runs HalloweenMovies.com and a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
Also a filmmaker as well. So.
Well, I'll make sure to leave the link below. So after I end off the stream here, I'll leave the link in the description, guys, and you guys can go check out Collection Complete. I'll leave the link to the YouTube channel. I think the YouTube channel's Gemmer. What is that? How do you even say that?
Oh, I think it's Gemmer.
Gemmer. Yeah, it's Gemr. But yeah, I'll leave the link below, everyone. So go check it out. The first episode was great, and I was in shock to see the Poltergeist clown because I thought that was amazing. Yeah, I'll leave the link after we end off the stream here. Let's see what else you guys are asking in the chat here. One of my friends, Vincent, he said give a shout out to him and Emmanuel. How are you guys? How are you guys doing tonight? Ooh, okay, Edward, he says, any good stories about the celebrity you've represented?
Oh yeah, lots and lots and lots of good stories, but I'm not going to tell them here.
Okay, same for later.
There's too many to even. I mean,
Well,
if somebody wanted to ask me something specific about somebody, I maybe I could tell them, but depending on what it is, how personal it is. But yeah, I mean, of course, I've got tons of insane stories, but it's a very surreal job to have, working with your heroes, and it's bizarre. I mean, on every level, from being a massive Halloween fan to being over at Nick Castle's house. You just kind of go, wow, I'm at the Shape's house. This is bizarre. I mean, I grew up a massive Anthrax fan, and now I work with Charlie and Scotty, and it's so weird to I'm just hanging out with them. I was one of these nerdy kids, in the audience, when I was a teenager, and now I'm hanging out with them. It's so weird. I mean, it's cool. It's very cool. But every once in a while, I got to kind of pinch myself, and
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, your job sounds amazing. And I think I met you a couple times. I think the first time I met you was when I met Norman Reedus back in, I don't remember what year. Might have been like 2014 or 13 at Fan Expo. And then I met you Niagara Falls Comic Con. Was it last year, the year before, with Nick Castle? He was at the table. So yeah, I mean, you get to work with amazing people. So it's pretty cool. Ooh, this is good.
Blaze through a few of these questions real quick.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them here. Let's see. Where did I grow up? I was born in Anchorage, Alaska, but I grew up in Orange County, California. I've been here since I was like 6. Congrats on your engagement. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
What's the weirdest thing a fan wanted autographed? Oh, God.
Yeah, I was reading that one too.
It's usually a body part, is usually the strangest stuff. Let's see, how did Horror Follow Down get started? It was just a hobby. And I was a journalist at, I believe at that time, it was called the Horror Channel. And then we all left and started dreadcentral.com. But originally it was at the Horror Channel. And I pitched it as an online article where I could write up about it and use, photos from the films and photos I take. And that's where it first started. And Nathan from Horror Hound saw it, really liked it, and he approached me to do it for the magazine. And I started in issue number 4 for Horror Hound. So I've been working with Horror Hound since issue 4. And then as far as the video version, the ultimate goal was always to do a video version. When I did the Halloween 25 Years of Terror documentary, I was with Malik Akkad at his office, and he was hitting me up for bonus features to put on the DVD. Like, we need more stuff. Do you have any ideas? And I said, well, I got this thing I do online. And I explained it to him, and I said, I've been thinking about doing it as a show. And he loved the idea, and he said, go for it, man. And so the very first episode I ever shot was Halloween. And I think that was in 2004 or 5, maybe, when I shot that episode. And PJ Souls was nice enough to join me, because we had been friends for a long time. And so she was in it, which was great. And it was just a lot of fun. And I had done something similar to that called Halloween the Retrospective, which I kind of considered to be like the band demo version of Horror Battlegrounds, which was a very crudely put together video edited on, VHS, flying erase head VHS decks. And I used to sell that online as just like a VHS tape. And it's out there somewhere. It is like the demo version, but it was literally, I'm not in it. It was footage I shot of the location, edited in with footage from the films, and me and a friend kind of doing an audio commentary over it. And I think we were drinking heavily while we were doing it, so we were just being obnoxious and silly. So
very cool. I actually did not know that they guys did like a demo version before that.
Well, I kind of consider it the demo version. I know people that have it that have told me they have it.
Wow.
I've never really. I don't think it's online anywhere. Kind of probably a good thing it's not online because, like I said, it's pretty amateur. Let's see. Other than repping celebs, are you genuine friends with anyone that you represent? Hang out, vacation, or keep it strictly business? I am definitely friends with a lot of. I mean, I'm good friends with a lot of them. A lot of them I don't hang out with much because they don't live near me. I live in South Orange County, so I'm over an hour drive to LA. Well, a lot of them live in LA, and then a lot of them are in New York or all over the place. But I do. I mean, I hang out with them a lot. I mean, I've become really good friends with Kirk Acevedo, who is currently the villain on Arrow. Plays Ricardo Diaz, the Dragon. Anyway, he is a massive horror fan. Talk about I mean, he's a legit horror fan, and that's kind of how he and I bonded, and we hang a bit, and I mean, yeah, there's, a lot of guys have been to my house, and, but I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of a boring person in real life. I mean, I enjoy just sitting at home. I travel so much. I'm on the road so much that being at home is kind of like vacation for me. Just
relax.
So I'm sort of a homebody. So. Let's see. What was the next question? Let's see here.
There's a lot of chat here. A lot of good ones.
Let's see. How's life in Orange County? It's warm. It's nice. Do you all stick to the Bonds collection? Well, as you should be. Let's see. Okay, in love with the recent most fan of Conjuring films. Yeah, I love Conjuring films.
They're great.
Conjuring 1 and 2. I thought the Annabelle movies were I thought Annabelle Creation was decent, but Annabelle was not great.
Part 3 is coming out of the Conjuring franchise, I think, this year or next year. So
yeah,
it does be with Vera and Patrick again.
Let's see, celebrity that was very difficult to represent. I think that's how I want to answer that.
It's cool if you don't feel comfortable. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I'll bypass that one.
Yeah, no worries.
These people at shows sometimes. But you can kind of guess on if you knew I used to work with someone and don't anymore. There's probably a reason. But I won't be a Pentagon. I have Jeffrey Combs there, but it's the same weekend as the Walker Stalker cruise, and I have to be on that. Let's see, are those original articles still online? I don't believe so. I think they're all gone. Thank you, John Q, for the kind words. I will keep doing it as long as people watch. What's the association with Robert Russler? Funny cameos in some HHE episodes. Well, there's an example of someone who's a good friend of mine, Robert Russler. It was just an idea I had as a joke when we were shooting the Elm Street episode. I was thinking, it'd be cool to get some Elm Street people in here. So I got Heather Langenkamp in there. I got Amanda Wiss in there. And then Marshall Bell, who played the coach in part 2, and Russler are super tight. They're really good friends to this day. And I worked with both of them, and I said, hey, I have this idea. What if we bump into each other? We'll do a little kind of gag towards part 2. And people seem to love it so much that we continued it in other episodes. But the thing I never really thought about is, since these are all randomly put out on different releases of different films, the odds of people actually watching them in order are probably slim to none. So they probably see Robert Russler pop up randomly here and there and go, "What the fuck is this guy doing? Again, why is this guy?" It doesn't make any sense, unless they know the whole story. But yeah, it's just a running gag. I think we kind of ran it into the ground. He hasn't been on for a few episodes. Maybe we'll have him pop back up. The revenge of Robert Russler.
That would be funny. Great questions, guys. Keep the chat going if you have any more questions. But one of my questions I had for you, Sean, is that because how long have you been? How did you get introduced to horror, and like how long have you been doing all the collecting and just going crazy all over like the horror stuff? Like how did that all start?
Well, I had very young parents. My parents had me. I think my dad was 18, my mom was 17, and I'm an only child, and we were not well off. They didn't have money, and so they were young. They liked horror films, and they would go to horror films.
Yep. Hold on, guys.
I was watching horror films. It seemed like it was just a natural thing for me because I started watching horror films probably when I was from being an infant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, until I realized what I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think my first memory of seeing a horror film in the theater was 1974.
Wow.
I was 4 years old, and it was The Exorcist. And I just remember certain scenes. I had to go back and watch it again years later, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the theater when I was 5. I saw Jaws in the theater when I was 5 or 6. It was,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was normal. It was just normal.
That's amazing. I would love to see those movies in theaters. That must have been an awesome experience.
Yeah, and as far as collecting, I mean, I started collecting stuff when I was a kid, mostly records. I was really into vinyl and still am. But when I was a teenager, you couldn't buy a Jason action figure, a Freddy, they weren't out there. It was, so when I discovered horror conventions in the late 80s, that was like, oh my God, you can buy this. People make this stuff. This is insane. And now it's, at every store you go to, it's so, normal now. But back then, you had to grab everything you could. And so I don't know, I just always had a collector's mentality.
Nice. Do you have like what's it called, like a favorite kind of brand like NECA or Mesco that you like to collect, or do you like to collect a lot of custom pieces?
To be honest with you, I've kind of gotten out of collecting toys, unless it's something, because there's just too much of it now.
There's a lot.
Too much of it. I mean, I had to blow out some of my collection just to make room because it was getting insane. I looked like an episode of Hoarders,
Yeah.
So nowadays, if I buy a toy, it has to be something that's just so badass I can't pass it up, or so unique, or I've kind of restrained myself now. I've kind of focused on getting just vintage items to complete certain collections, whether it be my Kiss collection or my Star Wars original figure collection. I try to get all the carded figures. But if it's, or movie props, I'm really, I've really focused on movie props. So I've been kind of focusing more towards that stuff and not so much like the NECA stuff, even though, I mean, the stuff NECA's doing is insane. I mean, Randy's a good friend of mine, and I've helped him procure a few likeness rights from some of my clients for even a couple of figures that haven't even been announced yet that are coming out.
They do amazing work.
They're awesome. I love all that stuff. I mean, I wish if I had more space, I'd probably still have it all.
Exactly. I know. It's like that's the only thing about collectors. Like even me. Yeah, it's like you run out of room. You kind of have to limit yourself. That's what I have to do because I collect a lot of things too. What is actually, this is probably be a hard one because it's a hard question for a lot of horror fans to answer. But do you have like a favorite horror film that's like your all-time favorite?
A favorite what?
A favorite horror film, like your all-time favorite. Can you like? I know it's sometimes hard for a horror fan to answer.
My favorite horror film of all time?
Horror film, your favorite horror film.
It'd be The Shining.
Shining, nice.
I think it's pretty much a perfect film.
It is.
Yeah,
good pick.
I'd have to say that. I see someone's asked here, can you ask how he felt about Halloween 2018? I liked it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Me too.
You know, especially comparative to what we've had the last, God, you know, going way back. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really well done. I liked it a lot. Especially just for like fans that are big, like the movie. Like I'm talking about like new generations that have seen Halloween, and then they have this new Halloween movie for 2018 coming out 40 years later. So I mean, it's perfect if you don't want to watch the whole franchise, I guess.
Yeah. See, one person said, let's see, who was it? Have you ever thought about starting your own horror convention, or is the market too saturated?
That's a good idea.
The market is definitely oversaturated right now. Definitely. But no, I have no desire to put on a convention at all. I mean, number one, I think it's a conflict of interest being an agent and a promoter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did put on all the Halloween conventions.
Yeah.
My role in H40 was much more limited because I pretty much handed it over to Horror Hound to work with Trancus and Malsicott, and I was just kind of an advisor on that. I didn't make any money from the convention. I made my money from my clients being there, but I was involved with the process.
How was your experience with doing the bus tours? Because that was your first year doing that for H40, right?
No, we've done bus tours since
really?
the 25th.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Every time, 25th, 30th, 35th. Now this is 40th.
Wow, I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, the 25th and 30th, I didn't actually go on the buses. For the 35th and 40th, I did. So I kind of conducted the tours, although I did have other tour guides because, you know, we have like 8 buses, so I couldn't, you know, I can only be on one bus. But yeah, this last one was awesome. I mean, it was a thing that was really cool. Is like when we went to the Fog Church, the guy that runs the church opened the doors and let everybody come in and take photos and go inside the church, which they usually don't do. That was really cool of them.
Wow.
And then we had the big Tom Atkins event Sunday night, you know, drinks with Tom Atkins.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Bar, which was such a highlight. I mean, everybody that went to that was just like, dude, that was the coolest thing ever. And I know some people were pissed because it sold out like in 2 seconds, but it was like it was limited to 100 people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the capacity of the bar, I think, is 60 people. It's a small bar, so we had to do 2 groups of 50.
Wow.
And but everybody had a blast, and Tom had a real. I was really nervous because, you know, full weekend of convention. It's late at night. He's older. Is he going to get grouchy? But he had a blast. Wow. He had so much fun, and he even said that to me when it was over.
That's great to hear.
I feel pretty good, Tom.
That's great to hear.
Tom Atkins impersonation. He goes, son, that was great. We should do that again.
Oh my god.
I'm glad you had fun, Tom.
That's awesome. I saw a lot of people's pictures online from that photo op with them at the bar, and I'm like, that's really cool. I was jealous.
Yeah, that was an idea I had that, you know, I had to arrange it with the bar. Like, are you okay with us standing, you know, behind the bar and taking the photo, you know, while they're trying to serve drinks? They were cool. The people that ran that place were so accommodating. I was really nervous they were going to be difficult and not really digging the idea, but they came up with a silver shamrock drink that they were giving out for free. I mean, it was alcohol. It's disgusting, but it was free. They were great.
Wow.
let me see, what else are you gonna, we do the rest of the Elm Street movie locations in the future? I would absolutely do them if I get hired to do them.
That would be awesome.
Scream Factory hasn't released, any of the Elm Street films, so and I only did part 1 for the documentary, Never Sleep Again, so I would do them if the opportunity presents itself. Mm-hmm. Do you watch any sports or other genres of film, TV specific other than horror? Oh yeah, well, I'm a big sports nerd.
Oh really?
I'm a big football fan. I'm a huge basketball fan. I mean,
wow.
I was a massive Seattle Supersonics fan, and I followed them to OKC, so I watched every OKC game. And my football team is terrible. Miami Dolphins have been terrible since the Dan Marino days, but I stick with them. This weekend, I'm rooting for the Rams.
Nice.
They are the home team, so I'm going for them. I do like hockey a bit, but mainly just watch playoffs. I despise baseball. Mm-hmm. As far as other genres,
yeah.
I like sci-fi. I like action. I watch I just finished the Punisher series last night. That was great. What do you think about Rachel True saying about she's not being invited to the craft reunion?
I heard about that. That was
I will comment on that very briefly. That it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. There has been about 7 craft reunions, and she has been at every one of them. So for her to say she has not been invited or is being left out, it's not true.
Wow.
Rachel True, it's not true. I mean, it's not. And, she jumped the gun on, there's a couple shows coming up that have a couple craft people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she jumped the gun. I mean, that's just a fact. But I'm sure there's going to be more to come of this soon.
Sure.
As more information comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But the one show in question that she was really pointing the finger at and calling racist, she's attended that show before as a guest. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, they already had several black guests booked into that show. Tony Todd, the little kid from New Halloween. They're not racist. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she had just done another show in that area. So it's like, you've been to the show before. You just did a competing show in the area.
Yeah.
There's other reasons they may not have wanted you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, it still could happen where she might be there, but the only way they wanted her involved was if they had a complete craft reunion, because it wasn't a craft reunion. Fruza Balk was making up a cancellation from the last show.
Okay.
And I had already booked Nev Campbell in there for Scream.
Mm.
So it just so happens 2 people from the craft are in the show. It wasn't a craft reunion. It never was.
Gotcha.
Could it be? Sure. But to cry racism was really, and then the media ran with it, man. I mean, they ran. I've been sitting back watching this, just like going, wow, this is, but, whatever. I mean, hey, what's happened to her in the past, I absolutely don't agree with, the things that she said that have happened in the past. But in this instance of what she's saying, she's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There was no racism at all, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow, I guess that clears things up.
What had to deal with in the past. So,
wow.
Let's see, what else we got on here. What's your perceptions of Canadians? I think they're very nice. I think they're some of the nicest people I've ever met. I would absolutely live in Canada. I love Canada. Are there horror pieces from your childhood you wish you still had that you haven't tracked down yet? I pretty much have already bought back everything I owned as a kid. Pretty much. I think, you know, I mean, there's it just seems silly to buy now that I would like to have just for a nostalgic reason. Like, I don't know if you remember a thing called the Green Machine.
I don't.
It was like a big wheel, but it had like these levers. I looked it up. It was called the Green Machine. I'd like to have one of those, but I can't ride it. I'm too big to ride it. Let's see. Coming back to Cryptoton in July, yes, I will be there.
Nice.
What's your net worth? I will tell you this. I'm definitely worth over $1,000. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is a fact. I will go on record to state that. Do horror movies still shock or scare you? No. To be honest with you, rarely can a movie get under my skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since a film has made me uneasy. Hereditary did that, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Get Out at times did that for me. But jump scares, they're just jump scares. They don't really scare you. They just startle you for a second. It's a cheap horror effect.
Mm-hmm.
Films that can give you a sense of dread, that's an art form. The Shining has that in it. That's a film that just builds dread. Session 9, one of my favorites, underrated film, has such a great way of building dread throughout the film. I love those types of films.
Oh, for sure. Have you seen the new?
Do you watch many horror films? Do you usually watch new releases or older films? Any recent standouts or hidden gems you think fans should see? It's a lot of questions there. CHC.
How'd you,
news fan?
Sean? How'd you think about Suspiria, the new Suspiria? Did you see it yet?
I haven't seen it yet. Okay. Everybody tells me it's way too long, which has made me not want to see it. Mm-hmm. I think I'll wait for cable. Or that way I can just pause it and I can get up and pee. I tend to pee a lot during movies. If it's 2.5 hours long, I'm going to miss a lot of it. But let me see. Hidden gems. Gosh, that's a lot of questions. I will say it's not really a horror film, but I fucking loved Upgrade. I don't know if you saw Upgrade. It was fucking awesome.
I think I might have heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
It's directed by Lee Winnell. Who co-wrote Saw.
Okay. I know you're talking about.
Great movie.
I'll check it out.
Movie. Dick Miller passed away. I read that just before we started. I'm really bummed about it. Such a cool guy. That's really sad.
Are you serious?
Do I like Kevin Durant? Wow. I used to love Kevin Durant. Obviously, I hate him now because I fucking hate the Golden State Warriors. So I mean, you can't deny Kevin Durant is a phenomenal player, but yeah, it's hard to like him now. I mean, had he stuck around, I mean, can you imagine if Durant and fucking what's his face, the beard from the Rockets, why is his name escaping me at the moment? But you know what I'm talking about, Fear the Beard. If he had stayed, if those three had stayed, they'd have multiple rings, but whatever. I think OKC has a chance right now. Russ or Paul George. You can't deny Russ is an exciting player to watch, but I think Paul George is a more consistent player. Scream Factory has to get Elm Street 2. If I do an Elm Street 2 episode, Robert Russler will not be in it.
Oh no.
Just to make him mad. I'm kidding. Go Pats, let's go. Yeah, let's go back to fucking New England after a loss. That's what I say. Let's see. I hate Pats. I hate that. Being a Dolphins fan, I have to absolutely despise the Pats. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that Nick Castle is probably the nicest guy you ever met? No. I mean, he's super, super, super nice. Yeah. Is he the nicest guy I ever met? That's a bold statement. I'm sure I've met somebody nicer than him. But no, Nick is a gem.
Nick is amazing.
Awesome.
Really cool guy.
Is the stigma of celebs doing conventions going away, or do big names still stay away from them? Oh no, it's quite the opposite. The big names are jumping into the game now and pushing out the small names. So it's the whole business is changing. There really is no stigma anymore because you got all these big celebrities doing them now.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a celebrity on your wish list you want to meet?
You asked something.
Yeah, I would say, do you have like a celebrity on your wish list that you hope to meet one day at a con?
Yes, well, I mean, I would say my number one is Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah.
Never met him. Love to meet Harrison Ford. In the sports, it would be Dan Marino and Gary Payton. Love to meet both those guys. And then my nerdy one would be Chris Makepeace, who was the little kid in Meatballs and My Bodyguard, and later on in Vamp with Robert Ruffler. I don't know. I've always liked Chris Makepeace, and I want to meet him one of these days. And he lives in Toronto.
Wow. Well, he's close to me then. I'm 45 minutes north of the Toronto.
Track him down for me.
I'll try.
To a convention.
Do you have a favorite?
Which actors are no longer with us? Do you think would be doing conventions today? All of them.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah. Well, Wes hated conventions. I talked to him multiple times about doing conventions, and he just like, he wasn't a fan.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of work. Long day. I was gonna ask Sean, do you have a favorite con you like to attend to every year?
Thank you, Vincent. I did give Vincent a shout out. James Harden. Yeah, I don't know why my brain was freaking up. Okay,
good job,
anyway,
Vincent.
Continue.
Yeah, I was saying, do you have a favorite con you like to attend to every year, or like Spooky Empire, Horrorhound? Yeah, do you have a favorite convention?
Yeah, it's not Spooky Empire. It would be. I have three. Horrorhound, Texas Frightmare, Monster Mania are probably my three favorite to go to.
Nice.
And I mean, maybe those are. I mean, they're fun. I mean, they're well organized. They always have great guests. They always have great vendors.
Mm-hmm.
I always make great money at those shows because they're all three monster shows. So I guess my love for them might be money motivated slightly as well. But as far as there's lots of great shows. I mean, I enjoy doing the Walker Stalkers. And there's a lot of hidden gem horror conventions. Crypticon Kansas City is a fun show, and Chaz is awesome, and he's just a big horror nerd like me. And Motor City Nightmares is another great one. Those guys are great. Flashback in Chicago is another great one. One of the best shows, Monsterpalooza in California. If you want to just amazing artwork and amazing special effects type stuff and sculptures and anything related to the horror art world, Monsterpalooza is hands down the show to go to. And then Mask Fest at Horrorhound is always awesome too. I'm a big mask guy. So those were what's that?
Yeah, I was saying there's a lot of good ones, and unfortunately, most of them are in the U.S. I have to travel there to go to a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Fan Expo Toronto is a good show, but it's not a horror convention. It's
exactly.
But it's a big monster of a show, and we always have a good time when we go to that.
Awesome, very cool. Hey, have you heard of the new Frightmare in the Falls in Niagara Falls? I think Rue Moore hosts it. It'll be the third year this year.
Yes. Yeah. Chris, who puts on that show, he also does Niagara Falls Comic Con. He's a good friend, and he's got a few of my clients coming to that show.
Nice.
I don't think I can attend that one. I think there was a conflict that I got to be somewhere else, but I always enjoy his shows. Niagara Falls is just a cool place.
It is.
I love all that downtown area with all the horror themed places.
All the haunted houses.
Dracula's Castle.
Yeah.
That stuff's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Let's see here.
They're cheesy, but
Yeah, I've been in a few. Nightmare is supposed to be the scariest one. That's on Victoria Avenue.
Oh yeah.
No, it's supposed to be good.
Let's see. There's some other questions here.
There's a lot of questions.
You've spoken before about doing possible conventions, send in private signings with your own company. Is that still in the works? Yeah, I mean, to an extent. We've been talking about doing a Jamie Lee Curtis signing soon. And if we did that, we would probably allow send-ins because I know so many people want their own items signed.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a company that I've partnered up with that I would probably have handling that aspect because I do not want to deal with fans' personal stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with it. So it's possible.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I want
worst part of your job. Worst part of my job. Honestly, I mean, there's lots of bad parts of the job. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, I mean, the traveling is the worst part. The airports and hotels and convention centers. It just gets so old. I hate flying. That part sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's things that happen at shows. I mean, you know, when I work with a convention, when I work with a promoter, I want nothing more than that promoter, that convention to succeed. Mm-hmm. You know, because if they succeed, I succeed. Exactly. And if they succeed, they continue to do shows and they bring me back and bring my clients back again and again. So I want those shows to succeed. Now, certain clients have certain requirements that they want in order to do a convention, an appearance. You know, if you want, you know, the specific person, maybe they have to have a specific guarantee, you know, and if a show isn't much of a success and the promoter eats part of that guarantee, you know, so let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say a celebrity has a $10,000 guarantee and they only make $5,000 at the show. The way it works is the promoter, the convention, has to pay the difference. So if that promoter has to come out of pocket $5,000, you know, it sucks. I hate it. I don't like it. That's something that I don't like about the job, is having to go to those people and say, hey, sorry, but, you know, because I don't want to do that. I want everybody to do well. I want everybody to succeed. So for sure, that's a down. That's a bummer.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of.
And unfortunately, what's that?
I think there's a lot of positives and negatives about any work that people do. So.
Yeah, you know, sometimes fans can ruin things too. I mean, there are fans that can be assholes. I mean, you know, that just unfortunately there are fans that feel entitled and feel, you know, they overstep boundaries and, you know, they're rude, and it happens. It unfortunately happens. And, you know, there's been times where I've almost got into it, you know, like legit, like going to throw down with someone because they're just being dicks. And, you know, it's like, you know, you got to have respect. I mean, that's one thing I'll say about the Canadian fans, very respectful. The Japanese fans, extremely respectful. The worst ones are the American fans, quite frankly. That's where we always have problems. And there are certain cities, I'm not going to name them, but there are certain cities where the fans are just rude, man.
That's too bad.
And it's, you know, and I don't know if it's just they don't understand they're being rude. I don't know. I don't really know. Wow. You know, but it's you know, it can be a lot to deal with sometimes. But yeah. But there's always so many more fans that are great.
For sure.
Than there are bad ones, you know.
Exactly. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, fortune's I guess that's too bad that happens though, because like it's so much work putting on these shows and all these guests to fly in. It's like it's too bad that that stuff happens.
Yeah, you know, people don't really understand what a commitment doing a convention is for these people. I mean, let's say the convention is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I mean, most of these people live in LA. Most of these shows are Midwest or East Coast or, you know, out of the country. I mean, when you're going to one of those shows, you're committing to 5 days. Yeah. You know, because you got to fly in the day before. You're usually flying in the day after, flying back the day after. It's a full commitment, and these people have lives. They have families. You know, it's not like, you know, you get the people like, hey man, I bought your fucking movie. You know, you should fucking sign my shit. You know, I paid for that taco you just ate, and I bought you a movie ticket. It doesn't work that way. That's that's not. A lot of these people don't even get residuals. I mean, some of these people don't even make a dime, but this is how they make a living. So to just assume that since you were in a big movie that you're rich or something is ludicrous.
Yeah, for sure. Oh boy. I have one last question for you. Do you have any a lot of hobbies and interests outside of horror?
Did Nick Castle actually just post on here?
Was that him?
I think Nick did. He said, "Okay, maybe Nick Castle might not be the nicer guy. We showed him the handsomest. That's what my wife showed him." Says that's funny.
Is that actually him?
Yeah, Nick Castle.
Oh
just
my!
on there. That's funny.
Hi, Nick. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, Nick knows how nice I think he is, and but again, nicest ever. Nick knows I have to go back to the first time I met him, so that's the bump in the road there.
That's awesome.
But Nick is hands down easily one of
he's
my
amazing
favorite people to work with. And,
yeah.
What's that?
I'll say he's amazing. I met him, I said, a couple years back. He was so nice. He was one of the nicest people I've ever met. And just being such a big fan of Halloween, he's such a good person towards his fans.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you gotta watch what you say. You never know who's listening.
I can't believe Michael Myers in the chat, guys. That's awesome. Thanks, Nick, for stopping by.
Now the shape's gonna stalk me.
Yeah, let's see. I think we answered a lot of people's questions in the chat, and I appreciate everyone in the chat. I appreciate you, Sean, too, looking through the chat, answering all these fans' questions. I appreciate it.
No problem. It's crazy how quick we were just talking about this before the show. Like, he was saying, 20, 40 minutes. And I'm like, you friggin' blink and an hour is gone. And look, it's like almost an hour already. It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. Time flies by when you're having fun. But I think I'm going to close it off at that because we answered a lot of great questions, and it's been a great interview. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day, Sean, to be on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you and to learn more about you. Keep in touch, and everybody in the chat, all the links to Sean's social media will be down in the description below, so you guys can go check him out and follow him. And yeah, is there anything you'd like to close off with saying, Sean?
Well, I guess we keep an eye out for those upcoming episodes of Collection Complete that are coming out. Those will be cool. I'm working on a few new Shout Factory or Scream Factory titles that I can't discuss because they haven't been announced yet. But I've been working on a couple more titles that'll be coming out this year. Actually was just approached to do something for Arrow too, which I don't know if we're going to do it yet, but that's kind of exciting because I've wanted to work with them for a while. It would be really cool to start doing horizontal ground stuff for Arrow.
For sure.
I know that it's funny is now that I go to conventions out of the country, or I have been for a long time, but I'm getting recognized more at shows by horror fans because a lot of the stuff I did for Scream Factory is getting re-released in the UK now, and they're finally getting to see that stuff. So it's cool, and I know they seem to want more as well, which is nice.
Looking forward to that.
But, yeah. So there's that stuff coming, and other than that, I guess I'll see some of you people at a convention soon. I know I'll see Nick at a convention soon. So,
is there any upcoming cons, like a few that you can shout out for people to come visit you at?
I am doing a little show in LA this weekend, the Hollywood show. We're doing like a Warriors reunion and a Revenge of the Nerds reunion, and Tom Payne from Walking Dead's going to be there. There's that. Other than that, I actually have a little bit of time off. I'm going to be on the Walker Stalker cruise at the end of February, and that same weekend is Pensacon and also Mad Monster Party, North Carolina.
Wow.
Which I have some clients there. James Jude Courtney is doing that show, and Adrian Barbeau, Daniel Harris, and Miko Hughes.
Nice.
I'd much rather be there than on the cruise. But I go where I have to go.
For sure.
Part of the job. Part of the job.
It sounds like fun.
But yeah, it is. And I get to see James and Nick like a week or two later at Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, and then James is doing, I think he's doing Horror Hound in Cincinnati. Yeah, James Jude Courtney is now getting his first taste of the convention world, and he's excited to get out there and meet the fans. And he's been yearning for the convention season to kick off. So so he'll be hitting all the big shows, Texas Frightmare, and I think he's
for sure.
Crypticon, Kansas City. I just signed him to another one today. I technically shouldn't announce it until the promoters announce it, because they frown upon that. They don't like us. They want the glory. They want to be able to say, guess who we're bringing. So I give them that. That's what little bit I can give them. But also for our fans overseas, I know Nick Castle's coming to Germany in April, and we'll be there with him. And I think Tobin Bell is coming with us.
Wow, nice.
Shawnee Smith. Yeah, there's a bunch. It's gonna be a good show.
Very cool.
So that's I think it's called Weekend of Hell or Weekend in Hell in Dortmund. I know if you look up German Comic-Con in Dortmund, it's a Comic-Con / HorrorCon like combo. So.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. It's like combo. That's nice.
Yeah, kind of like what Fan Expo used to do when they were working with
sports.
Morgue. They used to have the combo thing going on. But,
yeah, they used to have like different genres like sports and horror and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sounds like fun. Well, I wish you luck, Sean, with all these upcoming events. And keep in contact. And thank you very much for being on the show today. Appreciate your time.
All right. And thank you for the 18 people that came on to ask questions.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
See ya. Bye. Hope everyone has a great night. Bye.
Bye-bye.